And this episode of the Yalabat podcast is brought to you by Rooma, who we work with for our Folklory booth at the recent Techweek Singapore event. Now, Terence, what do you remember about our booth at the event, man?
No, it was great. I think our booth really was an oasis in the middle of the entire Techweek conference. Right? It was felt very homely, very inviting to people, and it was really just about we set the environment using the furniture that our partner lent to us, Rooma lent to us as well.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, because you can imagine at the Techweek conference, our booth was like bare white, but with their help, we got some funky tables. We got quite a bit of rattan, some plants, a really cool stool, a rug. Because they specialize in rattan and wood furnishings in various finishes, textures, and forms. They were founded in 2018, and I mean they were pretty easy to work with. We went down. They talked to us about what our booth is like. They recommended a whole design aesthetic, and they made magic happen, man.
Yeah, and I think there were people who came to our booth because of the furniture.
Yeah.
More than anything, they just wanted to figure out, hey, where is all this beautiful furniture coming from?
Yeah. So I mean, it was great working with them. They do some really cool stuff. Every piece is handmade and designed in-house by the team. And they've been so kind to offer you guys, our Yalabat listeners, a 10% off promo. All you have to do is key in the promo code YLB10OFF at their website, rooma.sg, and you'll enjoy the discount. So you can click on the link in the description to check out their Instagram account so you can see all their furniture, and they're great people to work with, so do support them. And now, on to the podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
How's the week, man?
It's been an interesting week. I think we are barreling towards the end of Afterlife Support, our podcast series. I think earlier this week we wrapped up like production on it, right? And now it's the last couple of episodes.
Yeah.
So it's been a nice long journey. Yeah.
Nice long journey,
Coming towards the end. Yeah.
Hopefully there'll be a future season. Hopefully we can turn it into a TV series, because the feedback has been good, right?
Amazing. The feedback's been amazing, and not just from people in the industry, but like even like Yalabat listeners who have reached out to us or commented, or even like people who have Folklory customers even have told us they heard our podcast and they heard Afterlife Support. They love it. So it's pretty like across the board. The feedback has been pretty positive. Yeah.
And how you feel, because you're like show running it?
I think all of us, including Joe as well, Joe Tan, who even in this period when she's very busy acting in shows, all that, we've all been just throwing ourselves into the project, right? And it's been just creatively very, very refreshing for us to be involved and working with actors that we've always wanted to work with, and we're just waiting for opportunities like this, right?
Yeah. And of course Tristen as well.
Yes.
Sound designing his first full series.
And at the same time graduating and getting his diploma.
Yeah, man.
Sound what? Sound design? Sound engineering / editing.
Yeah, you follow us on Instagram, you would have seen a picture of from his graduation.
Yeah.
So he's a sound engineer, man.
Yeah. So it's cool, everyone, like I said, it's like this journey we're all on together. And the interesting thing about audio is all going on in parallel.
Yeah.
Like we might not all be in the same room, the same production, same set, whatever, but we're all working towards the same objective.
Hell yes, man.
Yeah.
Cool. So I mean, interesting week. I mean, news-wise also, of course, we all know what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
Which we will be addressing. And again, like if you know anyone who might be able to share a perspective on what's going on in the Israel-Palestine conflict, that has experience, maybe even been on the ground, please reach out to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be able to talk a little bit about the relevance to Singapore as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, like all our conversations, like we want it to be honest, we want it to be deep and not just like a short video that covers just the more common questions.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. interesting week.
Yeah, man. So I mean, on that note, you can always reach out to us at contact@ministryoffunny.com via social media on our Instagram and TikTok. And what else? What else do we need to say before we start?
You can also email us if you want to work with us, or just find some way to collaborate. We are contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Didn't I just already say that? No.
You said email, but you didn't spell out what the email was, right?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Because I was setting you up to say the thing about like the follow and subscribe.
Oh, I thought you already were saying the follow and subscribe.
I didn't say follow and subscribe.
You said follow on socials.
I said message on socials.
Oh, message on social.
Walao,
I thought you were just grabbing the mic anyway, so I just let you run with it. Then
there's no mic grabbing. Okay, there's no mic grabbing.
Yes. But you go, please go ahead. Please,
yeah.
please.
So if you do enjoy this podcast, it'd be great if you could share it with like one person and just follow and subscribe to us on wherever you listen to this podcast, because it really helps the podcast grow and reach more people. Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But speaking of growing and reaching more people, I think the first topic we're talking about is something that kind of reaches everyone, right? Everyone at some point or another has gotten some kind of message from, scammers and all that, and it has passed through these very people that we're going to talk about.
Yeah. And the news is that as of a few days ago, Wednesday, October 25th, there was a consultation paper put out by the Monetary Authority of Singapore, MAS, and the Infocom Media Development Authority, IMDA, about how losses from scams will be shared between companies and consumers. Yeah. Because we've spoken a lot about scams this past year, right?
Yes.
What are some notable things that come to mind?
I mean, off the back of, not even scams, right? But like the recent, the outage, the DBS outage and everything. It wasn't a scam per se, but it kind of showed you that the digital banking services and a lot of the things that we've come to rely on in the past couple of years, right? The moment there's a lapse, suddenly the whole world stops. The whole of Singapore grinds to a halt. And it was quite scary to see, right? Businesses not being able to conduct or transact. Consumers, not being able to draw out money to even do, have a backup option and all that, right? So I think coming off the back of that big incident a couple of weeks ago, and then seeing this consultation paper, I think it's just nice, It's a very timely time to have a discussion about who bears responsibility when there's a fuck up in along the way, when a scammer somehow manages to access your money from where you think you have it safeguarded and with a custodian, right?
And I think the first time this was kind of even proposed was back in February 2022 when OCBC 800 customers lost a combined 13.7 million.
Yeah,
which I think we covered.
Yeah,
and then we also covered that episode where was it OCBC that implemented this thing on an app where it locks you out.
You couldn't sideload non-official apps, right?
Or even if you had the app installed on your phone, I think it wouldn't allow you to transact or something.
Yeah, you can't use their banking app if you have side-loaded apps on your phone.
What's a side-loaded app?
That means you don't go through the official app.
Oh, is this called side-loaded?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, side-loaded. I thought it's like, when you open up one app and then you flip to another app and then you come back to the app.
It's called multitasking, right?
Multi-tabbing. App that is like the app equivalent of tabbing. Yeah. And on that note, right, shout out to, I think it was Kyle from the Hantu podcast who enlightened me about the beauty of using Safari for multiple tabs instead of Chrome.
Yeah.
And it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. It was a beautiful moment, the exchange.
Yeah.
Just because someone out-tabbing you,
Yeah, exactly.
Out-apping you, basically.
It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
It's going to be on the Dead Air podcast that will be coming out soon, I think.
I hope so.
With them, where there were 4 of us around the table. I made known my tendency to tab, and there was a fellow tabber on the table.
Yeah. No, it was a beautiful moment. It was
not for you, lah. You really do.
No, I enjoyed it a lot watching it happen.
Is it? Oh,
because it's watching when you watch someone who's very overbearing about how he uses apps and how he loves
meet someone else
who's even overbearing, more overbearing than you. Telling you, it's like when I used to go diving, and then those people would be like, "Oh, you saw this fish? I saw a bigger fish." That kind of thing. Then then the proud guy gets shut down, that kind of thing. It was a nice moment.
It was a beautiful moment. And it really, like he said, use Safari for multiple tabs, and it's really amazing.
Yeah.
Chrome just sucks the shit out of your computer.
Yeah.
So any tabbers out there, remember, and if you're on Mac, Safari.
Yeah.
Safari is the way to go.
Yeah.
How did I come to this? The site loaded apps.
It's site loading.
Yeah, site loading apps. And I think along the way, Sylvia Lim from the WP also kind of first brought it up in Parliament, I believe. Also back in 2022. 2023.
She's asking for an update.
Yeah, asking for an update. So basically, there was talk in Parliament, and there was talk about this consultation paper. And then this consultation paper came out, and it's on the MES website. It's about 42 pages. And like, did this ring a bell that you knew that there was consultation paper? Because I totally forgot about it.
I mean, I knew that there was discussions about how they would share the responsibility for scams. Because I think there was a big point at the time, like where OCBC bore all the responsibility for the scams. And a lot of people are saying that, hey, should it even really be the bank's responsibility to do it? Because ultimately it's people who got, who actually went to click on a link, who actually went to sign into, phishing links and stuff like that. So it is you can somewhat attribute it to human naivete, right? So why should a bank be the one having to bear the responsibility for this? And it's a very interesting philosophical discussion about the banking system and all. So yeah, I knew that there was something being discussed, but I wasn't expecting a full consultation paper. But apparently it's been overdue already. It's late.
Yeah, it's late.
It's been supposed to be out like 3 months after.
Because she also brought it up in Parliament asking for a check, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's late. But I mean, essentially, like just some aspects of it. It basically it banks on the it uses the waterfall approach, right? Where layer one is the source, where is the bank, not source, the place where your money is.
Yeah.
Then there's the telcos, and then the consumers.
Yeah.
And depending on the circumstances, it could be all borne by the bank, it could be all borne by the telco, or all borne on the customer. And apparently Singapore is the first in the world to actually have a framework that involves telcos.
Yeah.
Which is pretty damn cool.
It's pretty cool. But it kind of tells you that you can't just put your hands up and say, I was just a messenger.
Exactly.
Right? It's kind of like, okay, you're not just a messenger, you are the operator of this information highway.
Yeah.
So if you don't do your checks and balances, you also have to bear some responsibility.
So my favorite question of all time, were you surprised or not, Terence, at the structure of the framework?
Was I surprised?
Yeah.
A little pleasantly surprised. To be honest, I would have thought that the knee-jerk reaction in Singapore would be that ultimately it's all about education and consumer education, and the banks are just trying to run a business, they're not doing anything. All telcos are just running a business, they don't have anything. But this one is like putting teeth on trying to put teeth onto regulation, right? Saying that, hey, no, it's not just about consumer education, it's also about your banking system, how robust your banking system is. Can people trust your banking system? And then also like, hey, telcos, you all just can't turn a blind eye to people faking SMS originators, right? So yeah, I mean, it's still, but it's not a final, right? This is still, correct. They're still getting comments on all this, so there still might be pushback. But as a start, I think it's a good way to, even philosophically think about who is really responsible for all this.
Yeah, I mean, I was very surprised.
Oh, is it?
Very surprised.
Damn. Is that, anyone got 40 numbers? Quick, one day. Harish is
very surprised.
Harish is surprised after asking are you surprised questions. Wow.
Very surprised. But for the same reasons as you, like, I think for the longest time, maybe it's also because there's building sentiment towards the banks or the powers that be that, hey, everything is the customer's fault.
Yeah.
And then like all the upside of like banks and all goes to the employees.
The banks.
The banks itself, which is not the fairest. And not all the employees also. So in this case, I was actually, hey, shit, this is pretty cool because the fact that they include telcos as well. Because at first I was thinking, hey, but like telcos, aren't they really just the messenger? But they broke it down. They basically said that, I mean, ultimately, it is their role to ensure that SMSs sent through their network are sent by like verified partners. And I thought that was interesting. I can imagine it being very difficult to implement. But I think it's a great evolution, because even for the scam, right? I was thinking, hey, but then what are the current measures? Apparently now the stakeholders are answerable to regulators if they fail to implement necessary anti-scam measures. But there's nothing that says that if a customer loses and it's clear that the bank screwed up, they should be liable. There's nothing that enforces that. I think OCBC was because of the scale. There was a goodwill and all, right. But this one, it's a shared responsibility framework known as the SRF. So I mean, if you read the report, it does break it down into different aspects of it. It talks about case studies. The one thing I know that the scams, like for those love scams, where the interaction is done through SMS and all that doesn't fall under it. But if it is if there's a phishing link and the customer or the victim is like pushed to enter credentials on a fraudulent digital platform, then that falls under it. Or if the scammer pretends to be from a legitimate entity.
So actually the paper, the consultation paper, is interesting. We'll put a link in the description. But it's actually quite interesting to take a look at because they have a whole annex that is full of like case studies, examples of how and when this framework can be used to pull in the financial institutions or the telcos to be responsible, right? So you can really look through the scenarios, and there are certain. So it tells you there are certain things that you have to be very wary of, like if someone older in your family, you're starting to hear that they're getting phone calls or having strange conversations or very intimate exchanges of texts with someone of the opposite sex that you don't know who this person is, and turns out it's some kind of love scam or something. There's no recourse. Like this thing tells you outright that if you are a victim of a love scam, that's on you. It's not our fault to police your love and your affairs and all that. And if you want to draw all your money and give it to a love scam, too bad, man. We can't do anything.
And the case studies are quite detailed. Like in one case, they said the consumer responded to phishing email, provided account credentials on a spoofed F1 fixed investment website. Fixed deposit at promotional rates. The account details were used to initiate 10 transactions amounting to 10K, and SMS notifications were sent to the consumer for the first 9, but not the 10th because of the issue. The customer will bear the losses for the first 9, and the bank will bear it for the 10th. So they go into that sort of specifics. And then I was thinking, wow, but would this be one of the things, like let's say you get scammed, and then there's a whole bunch of timelines that you have to wait for. But apparently, I mean, there are 4 stages. Right? The gathering info stage, the claim stage, and then the investigation stage, the outcome stage, and the recourse stage. So like the claim stage and investigation apparently will be done within 2 days or up to 45 days for complex cases. To complete investigation by 21 days, or 45 days for complex cases, and then the outcome stage. But then, when you look at this, does it feel like it's taking away responsibility from the consumer? Because, when I was looking at the article from Sylvia Lim that was shared on Reddit back in September 2023, where she was calling for banks to reimburse scams fully, of course, it's Reddit, but there was a lot of pushback against that, saying that it takes away responsibility from the consumer.
Is that the main gripe of those people on Reddit saying it?
In some way, yes. Let's see. Not sure. Just look at what other countries use. Blah blah blah. Let's see. There were a few people who disagreed. Let's see. They were just talking about what more measures could banks take for protection. Of course, the side loading apps and all that was one thing, but it basically saying that if the banks are bailing out customers, then wouldn't that attract even more scammers? Just knowing that they can scam, and it's not putting the responsibility on the consumer.
Wow, bailing out customers. I mean, what do you think of that when you hear it?
No, I completely disagree because I think it's so easy to blame the consumer, this individual who is trying to use your damn apps, and people will make mistakes, right? It's just about reducing the risk. And if the telcos and the banks, who are already not the most transparent, are not held accountable to a certain extent, then it feels like, hey, like you always say, oh, cutting edge technology here, this new app thing, but you can't protect people from scams. Feels a bit weird.
Yeah.
It feels a bit weird.
Yeah. And I think, it's maybe because those people were commenting at that point of time, right? But I think, if anything, that the recent banking problems that DBS had has shown us that they have obviously not invested enough in their digital services, right? Whatever you want to say about lapses and all that, at the end of the day, it's inexcusable that there was almost a 12-hour, or I don't know what, 9 to 12-hour lapse in their digital services. And it tells you that there isn't a robust enough network to get people to trust the digital banking system.
Yeah.
And ultimately, banking, at the end of the day, whatever you want to go back in the hundreds of years and whatever, the banking system relies on people's trust. Trusting that your bank won't collapse. Trusting that I put $10 in the bank tomorrow. If I want my $10 back, I get it back, And that's how our entire system works. So if I can't trust that the custodian of my money is able to, allow me to draw out the money tomorrow, right? If the custodian of my money tells me that their services, very powerful, very, very tokgong, very robust, and then everything, but then later, like, for whatever, there's some lapses or, because I don't understand how certain processes work on the app very well, because I'm not, I have no confidence in it, right? And then I end up losing money through a scam. I think the bank deserves some of the blame for that, the financial institutions. And I mean, you want to give them a litmus test for whether they've invested enough whether to educate consumers or to invest in the robustness of their system. The incident a few weeks ago shows you that they haven't. Even at its most basic level of like a heat related power failure or something, that can cripple your whole banking services. That tells me that you guys this system is totally not sophisticated enough to deal with like scammers.
And then we see articles like even on CNA where the title is, "This is not supposed to happen. Experts on DBS city outage caused by data center failure." Of course, it's not supposed to fucking happen. So, I mean, that's just venting on the title. But, like, this whole thing, the banking thing is the traditional banks, right? A few weeks ago when I was trying to look at, what are the few NFTs that I bought the last time? What are they worth? I mean, it's all just shit now. But basically, the wallet that I was using to contain the NFTs had some extra WETH, which is, there's Ethereum.
Okay.
And then there's WETH as a currency to transact in that wallet.
Okay.
I'm still not the clearest. But basically, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to move this to my main wallet where I have whatever little crypto I have. And then I completed the transaction. So, in Web3, you have your own wallet address, right?
Yeah.
So I got my wallet address from my main wallet. And then from this NFT holder, I sent it there. But then it didn't show up. Because I was an idiot and I thought, WETH and Ethereum, somewhat similar, should be fine. Then I Googled, then I found out this wallet does not accept WETH directly. You need to convert the WETH to Ethereum in your NFT wallet before you convert it.
So what happened to you?
Yeah, then I was like, oh fuck. Then I went on Reddit and I was looking at posts from like last year. They said, unfortunately, if it gets sent to that address, then it's like no, sorry. At first, I saw some people saying, where do you go? Then with a quick Google search, I found out that you can easily go to that wallet and reverse the transaction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which blew my mind.
Okay.
Because for banks, right, the traditional banks, you send the money out.
Yeah, that's it already.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shit, this is the power of Web3. But yeah, so I got it back within a few minutes.
Okay.
And I had that sinking feeling. I was like, oh shit, I'm such a dumbass. I should have Googled more before transacting. But because every transaction is on the ledger, it's very easy to reverse. Then I was like, oh, that's a real life experience where in the traditional system, you transfer from one bank to another bank account. I mean, I assume they will check whether that address exists or not. But for a moment there, my wallet showed that everything had been transferred out.
Oh,
then it appeared back.
So you're very happy with blockchain, huh?
fucking happy.
In spite of your losses, I mean, not say losses, but the paper losses and your NFTs and all
Yeah,
that.
but NFTs I bought was just experimental. It wasn't like
you're investing in art,
I didn't like mortgage, put my house on mortgage or something like
you're
that.
investing in art, You're
yes,
believing the future.
That's true. There was one Singaporean NFT creator I also bought an NFT in. So I have like 3 or 4, but I had some excess. It's probably pronounced. I don't know whether it's pronounced WETH or WETH. Yeah, but it just felt like, oh shit, this is the benefit of having more transparency when it comes to banking and finance, lah.
Yeah. No, I think it's a clear example of like even something like what you said, like being able to reverse a transaction, having some kind of like cooling off period, like where after a transaction within like, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, you can still like reverse it or something if something is off. It's not a bad thing. It's like having money in escrow is like the carousel, and sometimes when you transact carousel, you pay through an escrow service. They only releases the funds if you're happy with whatever you received, right?
Yeah, and I think it's very easy for platforms and like companies and corporates to get away with with absolving themselves of responsibility. Like even this morning on Facebook, while just looking at the news of the conflict and all that, I saw certain Facebook pages where you can only comment if you have followed the page for 24 hours.
Yes.
I didn't know that feature was there.
Yeah.
But to me, that's a good feature, because you can imagine people just following and shitting on the certain things and all that trolling. But now they say, okay, if you want to comment, you just have to follow our page for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So that is an example of the platform doing something to reduce just hate comments, which I thought actually not bad.
No, it's true, and we are really only in the starting phases of this digital age, right? Where we're still coming to terms with. I mean, the last 10 years, we're coming to terms with how the use of social media. Last time it was just about pokes and making friends and connections and stuff like that. Now we realize this misinformation can change the effects of elections. It can cause violence in cities and all that, right? So we're only coming in terms with the power of what digital services and social media can do. And we're starting, the legislation unfortunately takes time to catch up. And then there will be all these exchanges where they're asking the TikTok CEO about whether you can connect to TikTok via Wi-Fi and stupid questions like that from regulators that make it sound like regulators don't know shit. You know? But the truth is, it does take time for not just regulators, but whole population to catch up with the power of these services, right? And you can't just give them just give them a free pass just because, we're on the cutting edge of technology, we're trying to make things better, and just assume that, just because they say that digital is better means it will be better regardless, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's in everything, everything we talked about how when Facebook implemented the metaverse stuff and all that, you really started to see people using it to sexually harass other people in the metaverse, and you're like, what the fuck? We barely even scratched the surface of technology, and already that shit like that is happening already. So digital services, I'm glad that Singapore is taking the taking the lead right in the world. Trying to do something like that.
And the telcos being involved, that's great. I think at the time of this article, StarHub said, they are in favor of like that. Singtel and M1 had not commented yet. I can imagine for the telcos, they're like, shit, this is annoying, but too bad. Too bad.
I mean, it's the oligopoly, so we need to hold them accountable as well if they need to do more, right?
Correct. But you say about society coming to terms with it, like for any elderly folk that do you still see them learning a bit about what might be a scam, what might not be a scam?
Don't say elderly folk, I mean, even myself and people our age and all. I was just thinking of the instance when we met somebody who also got scammed via LinkedIn, right? Yeah, where they were literally
Gmail. It was email.
Oh, email. I mean, but and it was
a brilliant scam.
I think, I'm not sure we recounted this story before, but someone who, over LinkedIn, I think there was public information about that person's new job. And then an impersonator emailed them pretending to be the boss from that company of her new workplace, and then ultimately scamming that, getting her to transfer money and do stuff that this is a very smart, educated person who got scammed. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's super complex, and they will find new ways to get you every time. And LinkedIn, email, everything, basic stuff like that, they're able to do it. So, yeah, not just old people, man. I think that's the misconception that people often have, is like some old geezer who's like gets love scammed or what. But it's people our age, smart people, people who work in tech, all that, who are getting scammed also, man.
That's true. That person was working in tech.
Yeah.
He's working in tech.
Yeah.
But then suddenly this one, because Singapore, if it's a world first with telco, it's almost like a harder place to scam, right? Suddenly in the global scammer network, Singapore becomes like the epitome, right? To show how what's your chops like as a scammer.
Oh, like it's like,
yeah, they're like, hey bro, you got Singapore.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, bro, not bad. You got the Singapore badge.
Yeah, it's like Ocean's 11. They see Singapore, like hacking Singapore. It's like the big goal, right?
Yeah, like Alcatraz, like that.
Yeah. I'm sure Singapore is already a big target because we have an aging population, because we are generally more a richer country and
smart
everything,
nation,
right?
focus on smart nation.
Yeah,
also.
a lot of digital services, but also a population that probably a lot more trusting of authority figures and voices. So when you get a call saying that we're from the police, we're from your telco, we're from your whatever, maybe people, I don't know, maybe that this is my speculation, that people in Singapore generally more like follow the rules, right? Yeah, so you get nervous when you get an angry phone call. Because I got very angry phone calls from an alleged Singtel representative before, who said they're going to shut down my phone. And how can you? Yeah. Angry, like one scolding me almost. I was like, come on, dude. Like, if
then did you patronize them a bit? Or?
No, I mean, I scold him back, like, or was it? I mean, I knew that it was a scam. I think we've even covered like the DHL scam before, and we played along and everything. But it's quite scary. I guess it can be scary if you suddenly get a very threatening or angry sounding call from somebody, right? Yeah. So it's we just have to be. Singapore is a target, lah. We have to be very careful.
Yeah, and I think there are other things that are also being put in place by IMDA and MAS.
Yeah.
So like for calls, apparently that in 2023 there's going to be an option to not receive international calls. Like, it's a setting that you might be able to do. I think 2022 the spoofed fixed line and mobile numbers from overseas have been blocked. So yeah, over the past few years since 2019, there have been more and more things being put. So kudos to them, lah.
Yeah, the day I got a airstrike. I call it an airstrike of like scam calls.
Hey bro, like airstrike now,
yeah, I'm just saying the
barrage lah.
Barrage, yes. It was really like it came from Indonesia, then suddenly a call from Belgium, then suddenly a call from like multiple countries, like one after another. I just kept rejecting. But it just came, it's like 5 at one go, It was almost like it's like trying to hack into a build, like they're using bots to like call you and everything.
Maybe you missed a Zoom call from your uni classmates.
Maybe somebody really misses me.
They're like all around the world.
Hey, we all should find out what Terrence is up to. They decided to call all at the same time, the exact same time, and ask him how he is. No, I don't even have that many friends, so it's like, I know it's not. Yeah, definitely.
I see.
Yeah.
But I mean, interesting. The thing is, if anybody has strong feelings about this, there is actually a website that you can give your feedback.
Yeah.
Because this is a consultation paper, like what Terrence mentioned. I think by end of the year, you can give feedback. It'll be rolled out next year. Hopefully, it stays as robust.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, credit where credit is due. I think this is pretty great that there's this framework.
Good start.
Good start, man.
Yeah.
Good start. Keeping own self, really checking own self.
Yeah.
But for good reason.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
But speaking of good start, we're talking about a team that has not had a very good start to the entire season, right? And even worse now, there's some controversy around tweets that the players have made towards each other. Right? Yeah. And what is this team and what is this controversy?
It is a good old Manchester United.
Yes.
I would still say I'm a fan of Manchester United.
Yeah.
You can call me, what's that thing? The
fair weather fan.
Fair weather fan.
Yeah,
I think I am a fair weather fan.
Fair weather,
like my allegiance has always been a lot stronger for when I was watching football a lot more.
When they were winning, right?
Even like 2013 all when they were in the decline, I was there. Even when Ronaldo came back last year, even though he left on bad terms, I was like, wow, like these players I got emotional connection to.
Okay.
Whereas these days, I won't deny like when I watch Menu, certain players just like I can't stand Rashford. Before I go venting in that. Recently they had a resurgence of performance they've been losing, doing a lot of stupid ass mistakes. But recently they won against Copenhagen in the Champions League, which is a big thing. And Andre Onana, the goalie, who has been under fire a lot for committing like ridiculous mistakes. He hasn't had the best start for Man U. He saved an injury time penalty and gave them the win, which meant that they would still be in contention. And a teammate, the Alejandro Garnacho, who's quite a rising star. He could face now a Football Association sanction because on Twitter,
on X.
On X, right below Onana's post that showed him, being hugged by his teammates and all. Garnacho just put a comment there that showed two gorilla emojis. Two gorilla emojis above a picture of Andre Onana. And I mean, Garnacho is also part of the picture. So he was there and so now he could face a sanction in relation to that post. I think it was deleted a few hours after that, and Onana defended Garnacho, saying that people cannot choose what I should be offended by. I knew exactly what Garnacho meant. Power and strength, this matter should go no further. Yes, so what are your thoughts, Terence?
But actually, I mean, since you are a Man U fan and everything, right? Your general thoughts towards Man U right now is that it's just from what people outside see, it's a club in disarray, right?
Yeah, it is.
A lot of internal politics, management, owner politics, and even players refusing to play and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
and even just I know it's very easy to judge from far, but it's like the attitude displayed by quite a few players. Sometimes during games, like that hunger, that spirit is not evident. Of course, no idea what's going on in the inner workings. And also, for other clubs, players, yes, but also for Man U players, recently a lot of controversies coming up through social media. A few months ago, there was, I think Jadon Sancho was dropped, and Eric Ten Hag, the manager, kind of said that, Sancho's not been performing well. And Sancho put an Instagram post saying, "Oh, don't believe what he says," and all that. Yeah. And now he's like
on ice.
On ice.
Yeah.
So you look at it like, oh my god, this social media stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the context of it, lah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when you see this, and I think on a previous podcast also, we talked about the former Man U striker Edison Cavani being banned for 3 matches when he posted the comment "Gracias Negrito" to thank a fan.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Negrito, the core word, I mean, with like Negro and just that sort of slur, which I think we debated also in the podcast.
But yeah, I was only asking about that because it seems like this Onana's penalty save and their subsequent win in Copenhagen has been the most morale boosting, most almost uniting thing for the club in quite a while, right? Where people are, the two most maligned players, Harry Maguire scored the goal for Manchester United, and Onana saved the penalty, right?
And it was a huge penalty because if they drew, they would be out.
Yeah, they would be out. Yeah. So actually, this whole incident has been, I would say, a very positive one for their players, right? And in some ways, I guess the tweet from Garnacho, if you take it at face value, it's conveying that strength and power, right? Because it's two gorillas and all that, right? And the gorilla is like, and the gorilla ultimately, what's the defining feature of the gorilla, aside from what connotations it has with race and everything? Big hands, big chest strength, right? That's the defining feature of the gorilla. Fierce, can tear you apart with his hands. So I would say that, maybe Garnacho was very, very excited about everything and, tweeted that out because that's that's between them as teammates, and they're so happy and things like that. But yeah, maybe it's just in this day and age with social media and the connotations of everything, even one emoji can get you in trouble. Bit misguided, yeah. But what do you think of
I think it's damn stupid.
On whose side?
Garnacho.
Why?
Because so Andre Onana is a Cameroonian guy.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
He's big and strong and black, right?
Mm.
And the thing is about European football especially,
yeah,
over the past few years, there's been so much racial abuse that revolve around calling black players monkeys. It's happened a lot in Spain, in France,
Italy,
Italy.
Yeah.
And to not be aware of that, right? I think it's damn stupid, lah.
But he's 19 years old.
Okay, so the whole 19 years old thing, man, these people are given the role that people would die for, no?
Yeah.
And you don't have to post X on X, right? Menu gets you to play football. You want to post on X, it's your own prerogative. So if you don't understand like the repercussions of these kind of things, I think you are responsible.
But okay, then in the like what we were discussing earlier about the waterfall of responsibility and all that. I mean the fact that
so that X also like they should auto detect gorilla emoji.
Gorilla. If you have a gorilla emoji, and then like if you know that there's supposed to be this context around it, then maybe anybody in Europe who wants to use a gorilla emoji, there should be a warning sign that comes out. Hey, you are about to post a gorilla emoji. Are you sure you want to post this?
And then they detect there's a dark colored person in
the photo. Yeah. So then shouldn't there be some shared responsibility? Because for a 19-year-old to, like what you say, understand the context of everything in Europe and all. He's 19 years old, like what the fuck were you doing at 19 years old? Like really understanding historical context of conflict in the Middle East or something. No,
But this is the past 4 years where every black player in a European team, I can imagine, I don't know for a fact, but you see it happen again and again, the racial abuse they receive.
So who should be the most offended by this gorilla thing?
I mean, if Onana is not offended, that's totally fine. But I think it's just one of those things that, like, let's say if you were to post on a Yalabat thing with a picture of me saying with my Kaling friend or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like you do, I don't know, like let's say even if you put like 2 gorilla emojis for me, right? I wouldn't be offended.
You'd be offended?
I wouldn't be offended.
My goodness.
But I'll say, Terence, you post that publicly, there might be some people who comment lah. So does that make me overly woke? Does that make me like telling you to be a slave to the wokeness?
Sounding a bit not say woke lah, but where's the compassion,
Compassion for what?
For a young man also, who's like barely you could even argue he's still a teenager, right?
Yeah.
He barely ever understands the context of a lot of his actions and all
19 is not that young, no.
I think is young, right? Regardless.
It's young.
In Singapore, you can't even drink alcohol yet at 19, right? Wait, sorry,
but
you can. In the US, you can't drink alcohol.
But you can hold a gun.
Correct, yeah.
Right, in Singapore. So I just feel that these players are like global stars, lah. Right? They are. I mean, Garnacho has like how many followers on X? A few, like I would imagine, like a few million, like if not a few 100,000, right? And I think that is one of those things that, no lah, like I think that whole 19-year-old being young and not understanding this is a bit too easy for them, lah.
But that means you would like every time before using an emoji, that somebody should get a trained counselor who understands the context of history and racism.
It's
and
not. It's like how like history really is not going back into the 1800s or something, right?
Yes. But again, we are dealing with 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I, we have dealt with people, teenagers, before, and sometimes you tell them something once, it doesn't get through. Tell them twice, it doesn't get. Tell them 10 times, still doesn't get through, right? Because they're 19 years old, right, or younger. So feels to me a bit hard to expect all 19-year-olds, to necessarily understand the context of what they're saying and all that. So I maybe I'm not saying that it's I'm not advocating that anyone should be able to say whatever they want or anything. They're free speech. I definitely understand that there is a contextual context to people saying that, hey, this what you did maybe appears racist, right? But I'm saying, like, should he be punished to the extent, given his age, given the emotion, and given that Onana himself has come out and said that he's not offended by it, why are people getting offended on his behalf, or you think is it more that people are like other Cameroonians are angry that Garnacho said that,
That one I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, I can imagine on X that whole thread was like destroyed by people getting offended,
Yeah.
I can imagine that. And like, I mean, I think the whole kind of like what a sanction means. I don't know whether it's just a fine or includes a ban. Like Edison Cavani was fined £100,000 and banned for 3 matches. But okay, basically there are social media guidelines laid out by the FA.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not say it is like there's nothing been explained. It's not say the FA or the clubs even understand that in this day and age, your players, they will have a social media presence.
Yeah.
And Garnacho has 672,000 followers.
Yeah.
Right. So to also understand like the context of social media and what certain like implications are. I mean, if you understand the trends, why not understand like the certain faux pas when it comes to these sort of things?
Maybe as a 19-year-old kid and all, they're much less race conscious than we are as millennials and everything.
But as well, like being a footballer in a global club, you're no longer living in like a sheltered area.
I know, but like Ronaldo said, like Manchester United hasn't even changed their gym. They haven't even upgraded their gym in 20 years.
Yeah.
What makes you think that they have like a social media, manager who helps them to monitor these things and remind you, hey, gorilla emoji can be offensive to people.
So then maybe there needs to be this punishment in place.
But that's where it's a bit extreme, right? And that's why I said maybe, I know we laughed about it, but maybe there needs to be some like literally warning signs that come up when you are about to post a gorilla emoji. And like you said, the AI tracking that there's a dark-skinned person there.
And he's like, hey, just so you know, the history of gorillas being used
compared to
that one I feel is too much.
Why is that too much? Okay, then you see, then it contradicts what we were saying earlier about the technology we are not as well versed with technology and all these things as we should be.
That's for banks, right? Like the money thing is a very quantifiable thing. You either have money, you don't. A lot of these faux pas and all they change over time.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So it's whether you want to hard code this kind of softer things, because then it becomes like, okay, so then what else do you need to hard code? And I know like it sounds like it's a slippery slope kind of thing. But then I think for money and like scams is a totally different thing.
Yeah, but even exactly what you said, that it changes over time.
Yeah.
That even more so, it's harder to define what is acceptable or what's not acceptable, you see. So that's where, if there is within the layer of the technology itself, then there's like some kind of board or what that decides that, hey, certain emoji can be offensive. Maybe don't offer it to people, You want to say gorilla, you type out gorilla, and then you understand the consequences. Because you type out gorilla, it's much easier than saying, oh, there's a cute picture of a gorilla, let me put it there, that kind of thing. Then maybe it might be fairer, Whereas I feel the punishment is almost like it's this chilling effect on even free speech. Like maybe between them as friends. Like Onana and him, maybe it's a private joke, or not even a joke, but even a private thing where Onana is the one that's like, hey, I want you to call me a gorilla. Yeah, call me a gorilla. I'm the gorilla, and then you can be my little gorilla. And then you put 2 gorilla emoji, that's you and me as brothers.
Albino gorilla and a gorilla.
Yeah, and it means a lot to the two of them, right? But who are we to say, oh, you cannot do that, regardless of anything. And so we're going to fine you like $100,000. Not that it means, it's probably a drop in the ocean for them, right? But it's still the idea of like the principle of being punished for it as a 90-year-old guy who probably should be the most offended by it, said that he's not offended at all and anything. And he's trying to explain what it means, power and strength. Why is it that everyone else is rushing to punish him?
Because, so the whole thing about him being a 19-year-old, like the punishments he gets when he plays the game is the same as a 19-year-old and a 38-year-old.
Correct. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
If he was playing in the youth team, and then he posts this for his youth team member, then I'm like, okay, you live in a different world. The thing is, if you're in the world of professionals, regardless of age,
Professional football. So he plays football for a living.
For a living, where you are on a team where age does not really matter anymore. It is a privilege to be there as a 19-year-old.
Yes.
Right? So you also need to be held up to the same standards. So for me, age is not a question.
So, but he's a professional footballer, right?
Yeah.
So his job is to play football. To understand the rules of football. Not understand the rules of social media.
So that's why social media, that it comes with its own pros and cons, right? Like if you want to be on social media, you have 600,000+ followers. There's a lot that you benefit from it. Right? So you also need to understand that when these kind of things happen, there is a downside.
So why is it the Football Association that's punishing him for his social media behavior? Right.
Okay, so that's where I'm like, okay, then who else will punish? So I don't know. Maybe the club should take a stand. Maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe it shouldn't be punitive.
Maybe the club maybe make him do compulsory community service hours. To understand.
Go to the zoo and
go for a course to understand.
So maybe the football also, that I can agree. Should the football association be the one to lay out the thing? I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. If it's the club taking measures, because the club is where you need to think about, okay, not just football, you represent the club. So maybe that's something that we can agree on. I also feel that the FAA, it's not your
a football
problem.
thing, right?
It's not your thing. Unless they are posting something that is defamatory to FA, unless
the referees.
maybe the FA feels that every player in the Premier League represents the FA.
Okay, I can buy that. If that's the case. I mean, I can understand, like, if I guess if I think there's a PFA, the players
Federation
Association or something like that. If the punishment came from them or from the club themselves, or the Football Association punishes Man U itself, right? The Manchester United club. Then that makes a bit more sense to me.
But then they punish also. But that means it is a big thing for you is who is meting out the punishment, or the fact that he's being punished at all.
I think both are important to me. Who's meting out the punishment, and then their rationale for why they're punishing him, right? And more importantly, it's like, if you want to punish, then you have to draw this consultation paper and understand who bears responsibility.
Waterfall approach.
Waterfall approach.
Was it Onana who posted something like that?
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, technology is part of sport also, and I think. Even in recent times, we talked about the controversy about when Liverpool versus Tottenham happened, and there was a VAR, the video assisted referee thing, which was a complete screw up, right, by the referees. But it was so unprecedented. We never seen anything like that before, because VAR is a new technology, and there was no, like, okay, what avenue? What do we do? Do we replay the match? There wasn't even an avenue for someone to say that, although. I think Liverpool said out, or Jurgen Klopp, the Liverpool coach, said, all right, hey, we should replay the match. But then there were people like, oh no, but that takes away from the spontaneity, and if you open this gate, then every match should be replayed, and blah blah blah. But the point is that when technology comes into the realm of whatever it is, banking or scams or even now sport, right? There needs to be I think if you want to punish people, then there must be a very clear framework on why you're punishing them, who's punishing them, and how do you prevent things from happening in future, rather than just like, okay, what we're going to do is like, this is bad behavior, let's just fine him for bad behavior. Then you're like, what is bad behavior? Two guys calling each other gorillas affectionately. Why is that bad behavior? Right.
So would you post something like that, like 2 gorilla emojis? Let's say, even in the Singapore context, let's say someone who's very dark skinned, and you just want to show the power and strength, would you like post 2 gorilla emojis?
I mean, I wouldn't. But if I see a young person do it, right? I mean, every other day I'm with my kid reading about animals in a zoo, and we're playing. Oh, this is what a gorilla does, and all that. Then if he goes to school and then he has a friend who's darker skinned or something like that, and then he does that in front of a friend, then they say they want to punish my son because he did that. I'll be like, hey, come on, man. Like, he's how many years old?
Yeah, but your son is still like a child.
Formative years, right?
Formative years, the formative years.
Yeah.
But for someone who is who is recognized in every other aspect as a fully grown adult.
Yeah.
Earning and living and playing as a fully grown adult.
He's 19 years old. Come on.
Dude, that's where 19 years old, If there is a 19-year-old politician who becomes prime minister, the fact is he was qualified enough to become prime minister. Should he be held to different standards? To me, no. You have passed through. He is an exceptional footballing talent, right? And I know footballing.
Yeah.
Maybe his social media talent is like okay, maybe a bit suspect. So then maybe it becomes a thing of like, maybe the club should be the one to. It's like a company lah. Your employees, you have a certain code of conduct.
Yeah.
You have certain like company values and all.
Yeah.
If your employee kind of goes out of that, you have the right to be like, hey, no lah, this is not cool. So maybe the FA is not the best position to enforce the punitive measures. But yeah, I still feel like.
So I think before Man U signs any player next time, they must show them gorilla emoji and ask them, will you post this on social media?
No.
Then if they say no, then if they say yes, then sorry, you can't sign for Man U.
No, they must set up a test like, I'll show you a picture, tell me the first 3 emojis that come to mind.
Yeah.
And then show like dark skin, light skin and all that. Like, say gorilla already, fuck off.
Yeah. This is the woke Manchester United. How woke Manchester United. This is why Ronaldo left Manchester United.
No, this is why, right? I really wish that athletes do less stuff for social media. Yeah, I think social media is just like, oh my god. Exactly, you are a footballer, right? Like just, okay, not to say they just only focus on football. You're free to do what you want, but just understand that there are consequences.
I'm leaning more towards the technology. This is where the technology platforms need to exercise more sensitivity.
Then suddenly someone who's not so dark skinned, the gorilla, the warning comes up.
Yeah.
Warning, there's a dark skinned person. I'm not that fucking dark skinned. Then it becomes like, what's wrong with being dark skinned?
Okay, then just really just have a blanket.
No gorilla emoji.
No. Like I like it when you watch YouTube, right? For example, because I've been jumping on a lot of different news sites recently, following whatever's going on in Israel Hamas, right? When you go to the Al Jazeera site, right? Then they're like, oh, Al Jazeera is fully funded by the government or blah blah blah. Even Singapore MediaCorp also, they point out, oh, MediaCorp is a channel, right? So at least I see that sort of like thing there that, hey, be careful about what you're reading or hearing from this source,
Yeah.
So, I mean, we laugh about it, but if emojis can carry such weight and such like literally costing people hundreds of thousands of dollars and all that, then it should also come with a warning that you're about to post something that could potentially be offensive in these countries. Blah, 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 blah. You're about to post something. Click more to find out.
If there's one dark-skinned individual amongst light-skinned individuals, this might not be acceptable. If it's a group of dark-skinned individuals, not acceptable.
You're about to send a brinjal to someone who identifies as a woman. Are you sure you want to do this? Click yes. That kind of thing. View sensitive content. Emoji.
I found out in my extended family group for the longest time when I have to do the obligatory birthday message and all that. What the emoji I like to use is the rock on For those listening, it is where
hang loose.
Your index finger.
Sorry, that's not.
Index finger and pinky are up, and all other fingers.
It's like the bull's horns.
So I found out last week that up till last week, my mom was always wondering, why am I sending a donkey emoji?
Donkey?
Yeah.
Why is it donkey? Oh, because
it looks like a donkey face.
To her, the hands look like donkey.
Yeah. She was like, I'm like, yeah, mom, you see the rock on. She's like, oh, that's what it is. I always used to wonder, why are you sending happy birthday and then donkey emoji?
So the Tilani family find you for
this is like extended beyond the immediate, no? It's like
offensive actions.
People in like 7 different time zones and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea what they've been thinking.
Yeah. So would you call yourself stupid for doing that?
Yeah. Donkey does not have any racial connotation. In fact, a donkey is a very hardworking animal. Right? That provides a lot of value for rural communities.
But that changes over time. It changes between cultures.
At this point in time, if you call someone a donkey, it is less about the color of their skin and maybe their attitude. Stubborn.
Annoying,
Stubborn. Like, no, like committed, passionate, and got drive.
So, I mean, for me, it would be offensive if someone said I was a donkey,
Yeah, correct. So, but if a donkey emoji?
Offensive. Offensive.
But you never know.
Offended.
Why?
I got offended.
Then
why you call me donkey?
Too bad.
Exactly. So my thing is there's so many
no, but
such a great area.
The thing is the Gorilla and Monkey Association, the dark skinned players, it really is a thing in football.
I know.
Yeah. So because of the weight of that, I do feel that it is not just a regular emoji lah.
Correct. And I say that needs to come across when you are in the act of posting and everything. Maybe give really you can post already. Then after that, there's like a 10-minute. Okay, your post will come soon because it was flagged for some sensitive emojis that you're using. And are you sure you want to do it? Something like that. Yeah. I think that's totally doable. We've seen it in so many different things that we do nowadays, right? Are you sure you want to do this? Click yes or no and all that. But the thing is that there isn't that layer of information telling you the context of what you're doing. And we're talking about a 19-year-old kid here, basically. Yeah.
He's not a kid. He's married somehow, though. So I mean, you say he's a kid, but then like he's playing in a football team as an adult. He's married.
He's 19.
Yeah, 19,
the
right?
Of his
there are some 40-year-olds I know who are immature as fuck. Okay?
I was saying talking about me, right?
Hey, you're not 40, you're 41.
No, 40.
Oh yeah, you're 40 right now. Correct. Yeah, I never dox you. I never dox you.
No, it's out there. It's public information. But my point is like, he's had half the life experience that you've had. Half, Harish.
Sorry.
Every year that you've lived, he's had half of it.
He's also experienced way more than I would ever experience.
You think.
God, I mean, okay, you're playing, you're world famous.
Yeah.
Right? You're playing in a club like that people die to play for. And you're not just a regular 19-year-old.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that he necessarily understands more about the world than you do. I mean, you're educated in multiple
No, like, I'm not saying I understand
languages.
a lot more about the world and all. The thing is, like, the weight of the monkey gorilla association with dark skinned players, it really is a big thing in football. And people have been abused over it multiple times.
Like Onana, poor Onana.
Even Vinicius, I think Vinicius Jr. kena a lot. So so it's not good.
I think that I think the technology, then it's more the technology platform needs to do something.
Maybe,
but you is like Garnacho is like stupid. You already laid the judgment.
He's still a great football player. He is one of the bright stars of Man U that I do not understand why he doesn't play more.
So what if Garnacho
super talented?
So what if he comes out and says like, I'm not apologizing for this. I will continue posting gorilla emojis.
Then I'll be like, okay then you just like people will react. If you're totally fine and you're like not bothered by it, then I'm like, okay
No, so you want him out of the club if he keeps
doing that?
Would you want him out of the club? Like if he refuses to budge on that?
No I mean that one is a totally different thing Like there's so many other things to.
But he's such
factor.
a bad representative of your favorite club.
But I'm like this one-off thing. It's still a one-off thing.
No, that's what I'm saying. If he says I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm just going to continue.
He just every day
emojis. I will go and post gorilla emojis.
So that what you have to give so many other context. It's not a binary thing, Terrence.
Oh, okay.
It's not. Binary thing. It is not a binary thing. If he goes on the profiles of every black person and just posts the gorilla emoji, then I'll be like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah.
So you still want him out if that's the case.
So that's you're being like Piers Morgan. No, pushing me towards one
I think
answer.
It's because it's about football, right? This is a football team. You can have him or you don't have him.
Yeah.
So would you want a player who just says I'm going to continue
I would
posting
say if there's a player that is attracting so much unnecessary attention out of football, then if I was a manager, I would not want him in the club.
You would not want him.
Yeah. Okay. Because the thing is that you see the amount of distractions that it creates, and it causes like stuff, I'm sure, within the team as well. Which is why Ronaldo's interview I thought was damn annoying because it brought so much attention to or took away attention from the team, which was totally unnecessary. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, if anybody you want to rile up more Man U fans, like you know which emojis to use.
Feel free, man. Feel free.
Yeah.
But cool. At least that was a bit more debatable than the first topic.
Oh, a lot more. But I mean, it's quite interesting because we actually found a connection between the two, right?
Yeah, exactly.
About the waterfall. Cascading waterfall responsibility.
Yeah, man.
But what is your one Shiok comment of the week?
My one Shiok comment is I mean, there's a new poll on Reddit, which I always enjoy polls by longtime commenter Majestic Economist 6. Who embellishes more?
Yeah.
Is it Harish who is better at it or Terrence who does it subtly? So there's still 3 days and 21 hours left as of Friday, 27 October, 1 p.m.
Yeah.
So that's my one Shiok comment. I love them polls.
I'll build on that one Shiok comment with one of the comments about your one Shiok comment. Where Jungle Jimbo pointed out, you might want to check poll settings. I tried to vote Harish and the Reddit ad immediately responded, "Error, please try again later." Don't know whether it's a temporary tech gremlin, but maybe, it's a fixed election or fixed poll. Yeah. So it's quite funny that the poll seems to be fixed in one direction as opposed to the other.
I never do anything. I never do it. Let me try and vote lah. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
But then I have to vote for myself.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I voted for myself. I voted for you already lah.
I'll vote for you. So you voted for me. It was fine lah.
I voted for you. It was okay. Yeah. It didn't. For me, it was fine, but for other people, it seems to be a problem.
Yeah. I just voted.
Yeah.
Guys, come on, man.
Yeah. Clearly, I think the answer is pretty obvious. Yeah.
It's not very clear yet.
Mm.
All right, but cool.
Cool.
And then the one Shiok thing. Do you have your one Shiok thing up?
I gotta pull it up, but please go ahead.
Oh wait, I gotta pull it up too.
Oh, you gotta pull yours up as well.
I gotta pull mine up. Okay. Gotta put shit. I forgot to open the tab.
Yes, but no, I don't. Let me pull it up. You can pull it up.
Okay. So I don't know whether I have mentioned this yet. I don't know, but I can't remember if it was a one Shiok thing. But the Bad Friends podcast, right? Between I think it has been my one Shiok thing, but I've been watching it more and more. And it's a podcast run by Andrew Santino and Bobby Lee.
Okay.
And it's been running for 3 years. And because I watch one or two clips on YouTube, it keeps feeding me that. And I think it's one of those podcasts that they don't really discuss like deep issues, but it's just so funny. And what I find even more hilarious is that it's the two of them, but they have a third person who kind of co-hosts with them on the side.
Okay.
Who is the niece of Bobby Lee's ex-girlfriend lah. And she's like I think 21-year-old also. So it's just their dynamic is very interesting because she is like very straight-laced, and it's just fun to watch lah.
Okay.
Like it's one of those podcasts where to me the clips really make me laugh. I wouldn't go to them for like very deep understanding of stuff, but if it's just for a funny moment, I think they're hilarious lah.
I see. Okay.
Have you heard of the podcast?
No,
it's pretty good. Like Andrew Santino, I didn't even know he was a stand-up comedian. He acted in Dave.
Yeah.
Bobby Lee is like from Mad TV fame.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hilarious.
Okay, I've seen clips of them before. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Mine's actually a podcast as well. I think nowadays, like Joe Rogan's podcast, I don't listen to a lot of it, but the occasional episode I do listen to it lah. And one recent episode that I really stuck all the way through was when he had Sugar Sean O'Malley, a UFC fighter, on. So I thought it was a very interesting episode because I think the Sugar Sean O'Malley is he's a very young millennial guy who really came from quite a tough family background and everything, and he dropped everything to become a UFC fighter, and now he's the champion. I think the featherweight division, right? And I think what was interesting in that, I mean, they talk about the sport of MMA. So if you're a fan, it's quite interesting to hear. I hear this person talk about it, and he doesn't talk about it in the "I'm the best in the world. I'm gonna do everything. I can beat anyone." He doesn't. I mean, he looks kind of ridiculous. Like he's got like pink hair and tattoos on his face and all these things. Like, and you can tell that because all these things came after he started fighting. So he used to be like straight-laced, regular dude, no tattoos, nothing. Then suddenly he's got all these tattoos and driving a Lamborghini and everything. But he's quite an interesting fella because while he has all these trappings of success, he also still has some things that really remind you that, hey, this guy is a lot more grounded than he looks. So like one of the first things he did when he found success was to go and buy a farm, because he wants to live in a farm. He wants to keep chickens and things like that. And he's very realistic about his career. He knows that it took him a long time to get where he is, but the only reason he's there also is because he's good at certain things and he's not so good at others. Like he knows he couldn't beat the former champion in wrestling, so like the only way he fought was to just make sure that he never got wrestled to the ground. And as long as he had a chance, a one punch knockout chance, he could win. And he's just so realistic about it, and he runs his own podcast with his coach and training partner and everything. where they're just a much more grounded way of like the way they approach a sport. Like it's a sport. There are winners and losers. There are certain things you have to do to get advantage. And there are some people who will be better than you. And there are some people that you are better at certain things. And you just play in that way. But nowhere should you imagine that you are like, you're good at everything and you'll beat anyone who can come. And I think and that's what I enjoy about the podcast. It was just very realistic takes about the sport from someone that I felt like, you look at him, you think that he's like a bit like Conor McGregor, who almost, drinks his own Kool-Aid a bit too much, right? But he's not. He's a much more thoughtful, grounded person that comes across in that podcast.
Awesome. And how long was the podcast?
2 hours plus, that kind of thing. The usual Joe Rogan length.
Oh no, I haven't listened to a Joe Rogan podcast for a long ass time.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I don't know. It was just one of those like they just sat back and I think they ate mushrooms and everything during the podcast, and just hearing them freak out about the mushrooms and all was quite funny. And, yeah.
Oh, that'll never happen here.
Yep. But cool.
Cool. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. And remember, if you enjoyed this podcast, it'd be great if you could share it with at least one other person.
Yeah.
Follow us on Spotify. Leave us a review. That means a lot to us. And subscribe on YouTube.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks everybody.